Hi, everybody. It's Pastor Trevor, and I'm here today to help you celebrate Maundy Thursday. Normally, in our particular church, what we would do is we would do a gathered service where we wash one another's feet and we celebrate Holy Communion. And a lot of times we'll do that out of a common cup and we'll share a meal together. To do that, obviously, during the uptick of COVID cases that we have in our area, it's not really feasible to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have an online service where I guide you through some of the principles of Maundy Thursday. Some of why it's important to me and some of why I think it's one of the most important things for us to remember as believers. Well, over my years of ministry, I've encountered many who didn't understand what we do on Maundy Thursday. What does it really even mean? Maundy is kind of a weird word. Here's the basis of it. In John chapter 13, verse 34, Jesus said this, "A new commandment I give you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you are also to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Now, the word Maundy, right? It's not Monday. The word Maundy, M-A-U-N-D-Y, comes from the Latin word mandatum, or commandment. It reflects the words Jesus said when he said, "I give you a new commandment." It's actually Commandment Thursday. And it's the commandment of love. It's the law of love. So we are commanded to love one another. Now, love is a rather hollow word if it has no action behind it. And action is also meaningless without love behind it. Love and action go together like hand and glove, right? They need each other. Without a hand, it's like a body and breath, right? Without the breath, the body has no life. And without a body, the breath has no form or substance. Love is the breath, and action is the body, and they go together. So what's the action? Well, now, in my church, like I said, we celebrate feet washing. Let me read that for you. John chapter 13, starting in verse 1. "Now before the feast of Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. During the supper, when the devil had already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments, and taking a towel, tied it around his waist, then poured water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, 'Lord, do you wash my feet?' And Jesus answered him, 'What I am going to do, you do not understand, but afterwards you will understand.' Peter said to him, 'You shall never wash my feet.' And Jesus answered him, 'If I do not wash you, you have no share with me.' Simon Peter said to him, 'Lord, do not only wash my feet, but also my hands and head.' And Jesus said to him, 'The one that is bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you.' For he knew who was to betray him. And that's why he said, 'Not all of you are clean.' When he washed their feet and put on his outer garment, he resumed his place and said to them, 'Do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you're right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example, that you should also do just as I have done for you.'" There again is a commandment for action. When he washed the feet of disciples, he was taking on the form of the lowest household servant that would be in the ancient Jewish house back in these days. They actually wouldn't even allow a Jewish servant to do this, to wash people's feet, because they just considered it was a low act. So it would have to be one of the Gentile servants. Most people actually did it for themselves because they couldn't afford a servant. So there was supposed to be a towel and a basin by the door. So when you came in from the dirty streets, you could wash your feet because they wore sandals. So they would come in, and to not clump mud and whatever else through your house, they would wash up. But someone had forgotten to put a towel and basin by the door. So what Jesus does, is this is the form of Christian love. This is the action. This is the body of Christian love. The highest taking on the form of the lowest and serving joyfully. And this is his commandment, not suggestion, to lovingly stoop down and serve someone the way he served, to take on the form of the lowest servant, even though perhaps you're higher than that, and serve joyfully. Love one another as he loved you. So today, and really every day, this is not limited to Maundy Thursday, think of acts of service that you are not obligated to do. Jesus was not obligated to wash the feet of the disciples. You saw Peter's objection there. Peter said, no, please don't do this. This is beneath you. Don't do this to me. Deliberately do things that you aren't obligated to do, that you don't have to do, for people that you wouldn't and shouldn't have to serve. And do them joyfully in the name of Jesus Christ. I would encourage you, in this day and age where it's perhaps more responsible to not touch one another, to keep a little bit of distance between one another, think of ways that you can serve one another where you don't have to necessarily touch. Or perhaps it's somebody that's in your bubble. I like to refer to it as my bubble. How can you serve them? What can you do for a member of your family? A loving act of service that you didn't have to do. I would encourage you to think of that. Am I doing that? Yes, of course. Am I going to share with you? No. Because Jesus told us when we do kind acts, perhaps we should keep them secret, not brag about them. So I would encourage you, do these acts of service, do them kindly, do them in the name of Jesus Christ, so that other people can see. And this is how they'll know that you're his disciples, when you love one another. Not how correct you are, not how well you behave, but the love that you show for one another. So this Maundy Thursday and every day, I would encourage you, go out and do these acts of service that Jesus showed us how to do. If we're his followers, we do things that he did. I'm praying for you in your day and reminding you that we are at Newport First Church of God. We will have 2 in-person services on Sunday, one at 9 a.m., one at 10 a.m. We're looking forward to seeing you and celebrating Easter Sunday with you. God bless you. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.